Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Where the 99 Lead. It's a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville where we discuss many different subjects and topics surrounding the University of Pikeville community, campus, and family. We talk academics, we talk the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, the Kentucky College of Optometry, and we talk athletics at UPike. That's our subject today, as we'll talk about one of the newest sports on campus at the University of Pikeville. And of course, it's a familiar sport to many as we tune in most closely during Olympic years. And that's track and field at the University of Pikeville. We've got all the information coming up on today's show. Before we go there, let's meet the brand new head track and field coach at the University of Pikeville, Chris Easley. Welcome in.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
Chris, before we go any further, you're one of the newest members of the community, one of the newest members of the UPike family. Let's meet Chris Easley. Give us a little background about you.
Well, I was born in Chicago on the south side. I went to Leo Catholic High School, home of the Lions. Throw those L's up. Had a great track and field experience there, which kind of has driven me to the point where I am right now.
Sure.
Then after following track and field, I went to Greenville College in Illinois. It's down by St. Louis, about 30 minutes east on Interstate 70.
Right.
And after I completed my undergrad there, and then I became a coach there at Greenville College because I wanted to give back to the program that showed me, so much love.
Right.
And yeah, pretty much put me where I am now. And then obviously here I sit before you here today.
You're still a young guy.
Oh, thank you. It's a nice thing anybody said to me all day.
And you're still a young guy. And of course, you've been out of school a little while. You've had some coaching experience. Talk about that besides Greenville.
Before that, I was fortunate enough to realize that track and field, I'm extremely passionate about it. And when I graduated, I said I went to East St. Louis. It was my first track and field gig there. I coached at Mason Clark Middle School. I had a girls team there. I had my first amazing head coach there, Coach Donovan. And from there, I spent 3-4 years there. Time flies, but it was amazing. It was a middle school, so they're all little and they're all energized. And I was younger. Then I was fortunate enough to get a position in my hometown in Edwardsville, where I taught at the high school first. Where I coached throws. I was very fortunate to have some good athletes there. And then I went to help out their middle school program, so they moved me there, in which we had some good success there with my great head coach there. And from there, I guess that was I don't know how many years that was. I just feel like it may have been 6 or so years there, 4 years there, 6 years there. Then in Greenville for 2 years, almost 3, and then here. But it's been a journey, and it's been very rewarding because I've coached at all the levels, and so I can see and spot out talent at a young age, and it's helped me out. It's helped me out, and of course now too.
And of course, you were an athlete. You participated in track and field.
Yes, sir.
Back in the day. Did you participate in other sports growing up?
I did. I played a little bit of football when I was in high school, and then my mentor, he came in and saw me in the gym one time dunking a basketball or something. He's like, you know what? I think track and field, we're gonna give this a go. So I did basketball. I did basketball a little bit, but not a whole bunch because I was spending so much time playing football and trying to maul people.
Right.
And then I transitioned over to track and field, and it's been there forever.
I relate track and field athletes to multi-sport athletes. A lot of track and field athletes are involved in other sports or have been at some time before they make the transition possibly full-time to track and field. Do you see that as something that could be done at the college level?
Yes. Man, I am a huge advocate for multi-sport athletes. I think that too often now, at the high school level, everybody's so specific, and I'm a football player, I'm a basketball player, I am a this or that, when in reality, at that age, we need to make athletes. And I agree with you, we said the track and field athletes are just that, they're athletes, they're multi. I can take a track guy who's fast, put him on a football field, put him on a basketball court, and the skills translate. So I am a huge advocate for multi-sport athletes. And at the college level too, if you want to come on over. I'll teach you.
We're going to talk about that today, track and field, the newest sport at the university, and I would imagine a little different at the college level than what many may be attuned to at the high school level and so forth. We're going to talk about that, and you mentioned that you've coached throwing events, some of the field events. Of course, with track and field, you've got long distance running. you've got sprinters, you've got hurdles involved, you've got many different events. And I would imagine it takes a little different type of training. It's not just runners. You have runners that can go out and run all day.
Right.
And those are your long distance people.
Exactly.
Runners that run long distance and your sprinters are a different type of athlete.
Amen.
And it takes a different type of coaching. You've been involved with all of those and throwing events. We're going to talk about that. Track and field, of course, obviously it has a variety of events. Give us a little overview of the different events. Collegiate track and field, is it what we're accustomed to?
It's in your opening you said, the people are more used to the Olympics. College track and field is pretty much that. So all the events that are contested, at the Olympic, the highest level of track and field are going to be, that's going to resemble your college thing. So we talk about training. Obviously, a thrower is not going to be out running 10 miles like the distance runner, and nor am I going to want the distance runner to be bench pressing 1,000 pounds either. Sure. So with each discipline, there is a specific type of training to it. And so, as I'm building the program, and I'm able to get more coaches in here, that'll help that out, because with each discipline comes a knowledge base.
Right.
So I've been fortunate enough to have coached at all these different levels and been around all the different events in some capacity, except pole vault, because there's no tree big enough for me to vault on.
Right.
You have to have that. You just have to have the knowledge base, and I feel like each one of them, they're all specific and they're all different. Each one of the events also have their own quirks. So, yeah, all of them: throwing, shot put, hammer, which they don't see around here.
Sure.
Hammer is an event that it's a different one. The steeplechase is something that I think for direction for the program, I really would like to press on there. The marathon, the race walk, things that in high school athletes won't experience.
Sure.
Javelin is one. Not all states do it, I guess. Yeah, so those are just a few of I call them oddball events. The triple jump to an extent, because not everybody does it, but some do. So yeah, there's so many things for people to choose, and that's why it's important as a coach to identify those ones when they're younger, because at some point some student athlete will identify themselves as a multi-eventer, as a thrower, as a jumper, and so on and so forth.
Multi-eventer, decathletes, those
sir.
guys that take part in different events, throwing, running, distances and short distances, and making that transition over the course of 2 days. It certainly would wear and tear on the body, I would imagine, in many ways.
Without a doubt, it's really, yes. The multi-eventers that I've worked with, we have my previous school, and heptathletes, so the men and women, of course, the men have 2 days, and it's the mental preparation more than that's what goes first. The body is an amazing thing, and it's going to do what you pretty much asked it to do, but trying to stay on it mentally, saying, hey, they put the 1,500 at the end for a reason. They put that there to see people kind of, it's there. So yeah, I have a respect for those multiers, because they are mentally tough and physically tough, and they do a lot of work.
Hang on, Chris Easley. You're the U-Pike track and field coach. Track and field's all about running faster, jumping higher, throwing it farther, running further. You're telling me there's a mental aspect?
Yeah, oh my goodness, there's so much. I joke around with my athletes. I say, we train the gray cells more than we train, the muscles, because it's a quality, not quantity perspective. I don't want to make fun of the ball sports, but if I shoot 1,000 jump shots, then maybe my jump shot might get better. Doing the same thing. But for us, we have to have a very precise and very specific way that we go about what we do, and that starts up here first, and then it works its way on down.
I think many people don't realize the mental aspect of track and field, and they truly believe faster, higher, and those type of things. It's simply about the athleticness of those athletes. Chris Easley, track and field coach at the University of Pikeville, our guest on this edition of Where the 99 Lead. We talk about the newest sport at the University of Pikeville, many different events, and as you're talking events, you talk sprinters, you talk distance runners, you talk the throwing events, and I'm trying to think multi-sport athletes. How would different positions, different athletes from different sports transition to different track and field events? And I recall there are some running backs and wide receivers that transition into some tremendous relay teams.
Yes, sir.
Sprinters. And you can have football players that immediately transition with some training to relay teams. And I've known some great quarterbacks that have made the transition to throwing the javelin of all things.
Yeah.
And apparently it's a very natural transition for those guys that have had that strong arm, but for whatever reason. I knew a quarterback that had concussion issues and could no longer play the game of football, but was able to extend his athletic career throwing the javelin and was very successful.
Yeah, it is very common. And that's how, repurposing yourself. Because if let's say you're that sort of talent, that caliber of athlete, NFL Division I type of athlete, you're athletic enough. Now, again, it comes back to we just teach train the gray cells to repurposing. You're good. Another good one is I had there's a girl at my previous university, and she's a volleyball player, right? Throws a javelin, right? It's a great thing coming up over the top, right?
Sure.
So for some things, if you have the athleticism and you can kind of make those parallels, it does make it fairly easy. And if you're fast is fast, no matter what it is.
Right.
So I just put you in a straight line or something like that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I love those transitions.
Sure. Fast is fast. And being able to jump is being able to jump. We haven't even mentioned the jumping events.
I know, and I'm the most passionate about the jumps. I was a jumper myself. So.
Yeah, I mean, the long jump, the high jump, and there's a certain amount of natural ability with that, but also a mental aspect, and then the training techniques.
Exactly.
Well.
I was a jumper, and I spent a lot of time. I say long jump is not that hard. I can roll a bowling ball down the alley, put it on a ramp, and it'll go far.
Sure.
But there's, like I say, the technical aspects of it, and jumping I'm really passionate about it because that's what my discipline is really. And I love me some jumping. I'll talk for 3,000 years about jumping.
Sure.
Yeah, it makes
We
sense.
look forward to it. Track and field coming to the University of Pikeville, and of course it's common across many high schools across the state, if not all high schools, have a track and field program either on the small level or a larger track and field program. What can you tell us about what you've seen out of the track and field programs here in Kentucky thus far?
Well, I've had the privilege of living very, very close to Bob Amos. The stadium it's probably about 3 minutes away from my house. So I've went to every track meet since I've been here except for one. And I am super excited about the future of track and field for the university, for myself, for recruitment, obviously, and then for the teams. Western Kentucky, with the coach, also I want to give kudos to the coaches because they're super passionate about the sport. They're there, with the kids every day. And they've got some young talent down there that, if cultivated the correct way, I just can think of, obviously right now just what would be Pikeville Independent. I'm sorry, they have some really, really, really good athletes, some really good ones. I saw their 4x1 the other day rolling. And I'm like, wow, just that much talent in one space. I just need to convince them that I want your talent here so that we can go and take it and beat up on the other teams in the conference.
Very good.
So, yeah, it's a lot of talent here, and I'm super excited about for them.
Of course, University of Pikeville offering track and field for the first time, and you're on the recruiting trail now. I guess most importantly, there are many sports that are separated. Male tennis, for instance, female tennis, male golf team, female golf team. Track and field, will it be both males and females?
Yes, sir, for sure. That's the only way that I know it to have ever been. I say that, and I went to an all-boys high school. So, yeah, it's the men and women teams are together because we think about Pike family, the same way that the face of my team is it's a family. You know what I mean? And it doesn't really matter gender or anything like that. So, yeah, men and women are together because they'll help each other. Because if your guy in the 400 can help out that really fast female young lady, or that on the other side we got distance runners who may not be as fast as a male, but they can step down and help that really fast female runner, and they have similar times. So, yeah, I think they should be together for sure.
Chris Easley, track and field comes to the University of Pikeville, and I guess the closest sport that we've had in the recent past is cross country. And of course, most people realize that cross country is simply long distance running on cross country trails and courses and things like that. But it's typically run in the fall. What happens to the UPike cross country team?
The UPike cross country team, I was talking to their head coach there today, and we kind of outlined a plan where you'll have your cross country season in the fall. They'll run. The cold months come. They still log some mileage, but we just kind of go down a little bit because it depends on what the weather is. If it's snow outside, it doesn't work. And then they'll recover from the cross country season, and it will transition them over towards indoor track, and that starts around January and maybe into February. It depends on how they are physically. And after that, then they'll just roll over from that right into track season, into outdoor season, and then they'll roll into the summer and they'll start practicing again for cross country season.
Yeah.
So it's pretty year round for distance runners. It's just an ebb and flow of how much mileage and where they are on the continuum for the most part.
Most distance runners that I know, not necessarily competitive distance runners, other than the occasional 5K, 10K, half marathon, or marathoners, they run just about every day regardless, because it's something that's built into them. They have a different personality than those of us that may go out and jog just to burn off some steam or thing. It's something that's built into their personality. It's almost as if they have to go run.
I agree, and and you'll see with those same athletes, it's a discipline thing. You know, I don't have to. You don't have to ask them. You know what I mean? So when I say when we say we're average logging 60 miles a week, a distance runner's like, okay,
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important that when we think about track and cross country, that they're not ever really separate, because I don't let a distance runner go and you don't take the indoor season off.
Sure.
And the discipline is saying I'm going to get up and go run, maybe because it makes them better. Logging those miles it makes you better. So
You anticipate those cross country runners becoming a part of the track and field team
sure.
and handling your distance events, or at least some of those distance events.
yeah, I'll ask them to, because they may have they may have a 5-mile race, 3-mile race, depending on male or female, and I'll ask them to step down and run an 800,
Sure.
run a mile. You know what I'm saying? Some people are better at longer distance. Run the marathon. It just depends on where you are as that distance runner, how you kind of characterize yourself, and then, of course, us talking and trying to figure that out for them.
Very good. And of course, as we watch the Olympics, we watch World Championships, televised events that we catch snippets of, but a lot of focus is every 4 years, of course, on the Olympic Games. You see individuals competing,
Yeah.
but obviously also competing as a team for their country. Is that much the way collegiate track and field is handled? It's a team event, but also an individual event for medals.
Yes, it's track and field is not like any other sport. It's the team individual mindset where the distance runner doesn't know what the thrower is throwing. They know they're throwing something, and at the end of the meet, hey, he put 10 points in on us for us, and I got my 10 over here. We're UPike. We got 20 points already. So it is very individualistic, but it has a great team atmosphere. Great team atmosphere.
Very good. And of course, UPike now offering track and field as a varsity sport. What conferences, associations will UPike compete in?
Mid-South. Mid-South Conference is the same as all of our other sports. It's competitive for us, and as we grow our program, we hope to carve out our space in there. I was at the conference meet, and I looked at the meet and I said, I see UPike having people on the podium, because we can get there, and I just, with some time and recruitment, and then we'll also possibly looking at possibly in the Christian Nationals, the NCCAA, which is we would qualify for because of our status, and that'd be a great meet for us to get into, just so that we can have 2 national championships that we can kind of compete for. If you qualify for NAIAs, that's great. If you qualify, which most people qualify for Christians, and that's what I would like to do.
And of course, a spring schedule for track and field events. How many meets do you anticipate?
Currently on the schedule, there's 14 or so meets on there between the indoor season and outdoor season. But obviously the schedule, it's always about, because our program is new, we can't just go to every single meet.
Sure.
Just because there's standards for every meet, for a lot of meets that you're going to get into. So I'm just kind of, I have a schedule that I'm looking at that's kind of proposed. It's kind of in my head. I'm like, everything's 2.5 hours away or 3 hours. So
Right.
if I'm going to drive 3 hours that way, I might as well drive 3 hours that way.
Sure.
So, as I'm putting it together, we'll look to go move around, Ohio, North Carolina, a lot of Kentucky here, maybe in Tennessee down there, but some conference schools, Lindsey Wilson, Cumberland's, just kind of moving around, Center College, just kind of moving around as much, because track and field, you have to go to the venues.
Very good. And you just come back from the conference meet.
I did.
How many teams competed in the conference meet this year?
I don't have the conference memorized. You have
Lindsey,
to forgive me. Yeah, Lindsey, Cumberland's,
Georgetown.
Yep, Georgetown, ourselves, Life, I want to say that's maybe I may round it off. That might
Typical
round it off.
Mid-South Conference,
typical Mid-South Conference.
lineup, and now UPike joins that. As we've seen UPike be extremely competitive, winning the Mid-South Conference basketball tournament, winning the Mid-South Conference East on the football field for the first time ever last fall. I can see UPike being very successful competing in the Mid-South Conference.
Yes.
Similar athletes at all of those schools, and all that take a great deal of pride in their athletic programs. Recruiting. We talk to coaches and they're recruiting 365 days a year. There are some coaches that have been rumored to recruit even more than 365 days a year. Ask their wives, ask their husbands. They're always recruiting. I
Yes.
would imagine you've got a new program, you've got a lot of spots to fill. Recruiting is heavily on your mind. Tell us about that process with a new program.
Because it's newish, the recruitment is a little bit more challenging just because a lot of times for any of our ball sports, like say our basketball team's good, our football team's good. So we can say, hey, point to the cabinet, point to the trophy cabinet. We don't quite have that yet.
Right.
And we're working towards that. So for me, my number one, I have the plan, and that is not to go too far outside the scope. Track has a lot of events, but right now it's just me. And if I go too far outside the scope, then I'll stretch myself way too thin.
Sure.
And then, of course, with track, it's about quality, not quantity. So I want to make sure the athletes feel like they're getting an appropriate amount of attention that they need, and also coaching, because we got to train this here first so that they can run, jump, throw, whatever it is, a lot faster. So there's that. So I make sure I stay with the plan, and then I'm out. A young lady, Kimmy Lester, right now, because I'm here. I should be going to a track meet to watch her run because she's very interested in us, and I really would like to have her. So going to those meets, seeing those athletes, showing them that this UPike family, I care about you. You know what I mean? Looking at results, contacting coaches, emailing, tons of emails. And just trying to pound the pavement, and I use the term grind because it is a grind. I came from a Division III school, so we didn't have any sort of incentive, so you have to grind at a D3 school to get kids there. So it's a grind, and I'm up emailing or calling or doing something every night.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this edition of Where the 99 Leads. Chris Easley, our track and field coach, he's got a meet to get to. We're going recruiting in just a moment. Not going to let you leave just yet, but we will push you out the door in just a couple of minutes. You've got to get to that meet. I understand how important recruiting is. And when you've got quality athletes that are in the area, obviously you want to capitalize on those. You want those student athletes to have the opportunity close to home or within the region at least. There first, how far will you be recruiting?
From as far as the Pacific and the Atlantic.
Yes.
And as far as the Canadian border and who you name it, I can go anywhere because there's thousands of athletes and there's thousands that want to run. So, and I'm here to say, hey, if we can get the right fit for you, I want you on my team.
Absolutely. And obviously you can't do it all. You can't be at every meet, but how do you get the word out? Hey, we're the University of Pikeville. We've got great academic programs. There's a med school here. There's an optometry school here. We've got a great college of business. We've got a great college of education, film and media arts, many different majors to offer you, and you can earn a scholarship by being a track and field athlete at the University of Pikeville. How do you get the word out?
Well, I spend a lot of just grinding and sending out emails, talking, gauging interest from coaches. I rely heavily on the coaches. When I'm contacting you or sending an email, I'm like, please respond to me because, this person, that person, are they interested? So then I'm going to call that person and get on the phone and say, hey, we have all these great things at UPike. We have these things to offer you. Come share your talent with me so that you can then, go on and be a productive individual and, make a lot of money someday and you can give back to the track program.
Of course, track and field. It's coming to the University of Pikeville. We talk about competitions and Mid-South Conference competitions beginning next year. Will you host any meets here in Pikeville?
Unfortunately, I will not. That's going to be a project that would be a couple years from now, just because when our track was put together, it wasn't put down for college competition.
Right.
So we're missing a steeplechase. So, you know what I mean?
Sure.
We're missing an approach for the javelin. We don't have the proper cages for the hammer.
Right.
So I would love to host a meet, but right now we just don't quite have that area is not set up for it.
Sure.
In the future, I would love to get it some things adjusted because they're just small adjustments. to be made, and finding different places where we can kind of make things work. But it's not completely out of the question, but not right now.
Coach, of course, as we wind down this edition of Where the 99 Lead and introduce track and field to the U-Pike Community Campus and to the region, and that, of course, reaches into Central Appalachia, Southern West Virginia, Southwest Virginia, East Tennessee, Eastern Kentucky. We understand there are a lot of track and field athletes out there.
Yes.
And if you're making a recruiting pitch to those athletes, what do you say to that young man or young lady who's considering that they would like to participate in track and field after high school? Let's hear your recruiting pitch.
Oh, well, I guess for me, it's simple. Go someplace where you're going to thrive. You know, don't go to a place where you're going to be another number. Don't go to a place where they're going to recruit another one of you next year, and then you'll be just another one of you. Come someplace where you'll thrive. You know, I know who you are. I know who your mom is. I know you, and who you are is my priority. And as I'm investing in you, hopefully it's reciprocated. You know, you're invested in the program, and from there, I just believe that there's no way that you can fail. If I'm bought in, if you're bought in, and you believe in what we're doing here at U-Pike, that it will be something great, because we're trying to create something great. Why not be a part of it?
I would sign on the dotted line if you had an old man division.
I got one. I'll make one for you.
I'm a little outdated for you. Coach Chris Easley, head track and field coach at the University of Pike, our guest on this edition of Where the 99 Lead. And Coach, if we have high school coaches or parents or student athletes that are tuned in right now and they want to learn more about possibly talking with you about track and field at the University of Pikeville. Perhaps they're a track and field athlete now. Perhaps they've been off for a year and maybe heading back to school or looking to transfer back to the area. Whatever the case may be, they'd like to contact you. How can they do that?
You go to the website, upike.edu, and you go to the athletic tab, and you'll kind of navigate there. It's a beautiful job. Good job, Dan White, on putting that together for us. And they can all of my contact information is there. My cell phone numbers are there present. I can be contacted by email or text message,
Sure.
or carrier pigeon, whatever one is the most efficient way.
Or just chase him down.
Or chase me down. I don't run very fast. I'm a fat
You'll
kid.
find him at a track and field meet, a high school track and field meet in the area. He'll be out looking for athletes.
I will be.
Chris Easley, great to meet you. Great to have you a part of the community, and we look forward to a lot of success out of the U-Pike track and field program.
Thank you very much.
Chris Easley, head track and field coach at the University of Pikeville. Scholarships are available at the University of Pikeville. We want the best track and field athletes at U-Pike. You've been tuned to Where the 99 Lead, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia. Thanks for tuning in.